Now, following on from a ruling at the High Court in England yesterday, which granted a district council a temporary injunction to block asylum seekers from lodging at a hotel in Essex, there are expectations that some other local authorities could follow suit. Now, last week, there were protests in Falkirk outside a hotel housing asylum seekers. Glasgow City Council houses a large percentage of refugees across the city in temporary accommodation. Many asylum seekers become refugees when they've been granted the right to remain in the UK. I've been hearing more from Glasgow City Council leader Susan Aitken, but I started by asking for the council's reaction to that High Court ruling in England on asylum hotels.
I think it's clear that this is a very different situation in England than it is in Scotland and specifically in Glasgow. First of all, this High Court ruling is on the basis of planning law, and planning law in Scotland is significantly different from that in England in this respect. The basis of Epping's challenge was on the change of use from a hotel to a hostel. But in Scotland, those are the same use classes in planning. So there wouldn't be the same basis for that kind of challenge.
Do you not see this as such, if at all, an issue here in Scotland, that it's different kinds of pressure points in different parts of the country?
Yes, it is different kinds of pressure points. What's clear, though, is that in Scotland, we are not immune from bad actors, from people on the far right who would exploit, who would misinform, who would straight up lie about the situation in Scotland in order to foment that kind of unrest and anger towards asylum seekers and indeed refugees for that matter.
And back onto the issue then of homelessness housing in Glasgow and the budgetary pressures that your council have faced. We had one of your colleagues on the programme here a couple of months ago talking about that appeal to the Home Office for people who, as you say, are refugees, people who have been granted leave to remain but are seeking accommodation here in Scotland because the rules on homelessness are slightly different. Have you been able to get any of that support from the Home Office, any further resources to try to help you to deal with that, to deal with that refugee population seeking housing while also trying to help other people who are here and existing on the homelessness register?
We have not, no. And in actual fact, myself and my colleague, Councillor Casey, who leads on homelessness issues in the city, have written again to the Home Secretary to ask again for an emergency meeting on this. Our previous attempts to get meetings, the last time it was cancelled, or we were told postponed very much at the last minute. So we will continue to seek dialogue and support and an intervention from the Home Office on this. We have a particularly acute set of pressure points here in Glasgow. It's not unique to us, but it is particularly acute, and it is costing the city tens of millions of pounds, and we are facing a very significant budget gap next year, the vast majority of which is accounted for by homelessness costs.
That was Councillor Susan Aitken, their leader of Glasgow City Council. Well, the Home Office says it's working right across the UK to give councils as much notice as possible of newly recognised refugees, but there's no word on any extra money for Glasgow.